Hello everyone, myself Sneha Shah from the LG Institute of Engineering and Technology from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. Today I will explain you about analysis of linear time invariant system. From the subject of digital signal processing, today we will discuss three topics: analysis of LTI system in time domain, classification of systems using pole zero plot, and stability considerations. First of all, first topic is analysis of LTI system in time domain. If we want to analyze any LTI system, we will define whether the given system is causal or not and it is stable or not. So for analysis, causality and stability of LTI system can be checked by using Z transform. From the system transfer function, pole zero plot is sketched and the stability of the system can be determined from it. If the pole position is inside the unit circle, then it will become stable, and if it will be outside the unit circle, then it will become unstable. So it will be determined by using pole zero plot. So if any sequence is given to you, you can draw the pole zero plot. Otherwise, if the pole zero plot is given to you, then also you can write the sequence of that pole zero plot. It can be well understand by using some examples. Suppose if we will take example number 1, like the pole zero plot is given to you like this. This is the pole zero plot given to you in the Z plane, and then you have to find out x of z for this. Means you have to find out Z transform of this, and you have to find out the sequence, original sequence x of n, then you have to sketch that sequence. So for this, first of all we will define the position of pole, this representing pole, right, and this one is 0. So we will defining the position of pole and position of 0. This one is the unit circle, it means the radius of this circle is 1. So if we will take radius of the circle equals to 1, so position of pole at 1. So position of pole equals to 1. So pole, value of pole equals to 1, and the value of z equals to, z is located at 0. So z equals to 0. From this, if we will write down x of z, so what will be the value of x of z? X of z equals to, pole will be representing in the denominator and 0 will be representing in numerator. So z minus value of 0, and the value of 0 equals to 0. Similarly, pole will be representing as z minus pole. So value of pole equals to 1. So this will representing z minus 0 upon z minus 1. So if we will simplify this term, z minus 0 equals to z divided by z minus 1. This is your final Z transform for this pole zero plot. Now from this we have to find out the original sequence x of n. How we'll find out original sequence x of n? By taking inverse Z transform of this. And you know that this one is the Z transform of unit step signal. So z upon z minus 1, its inverse Z transform is unit step signal u of n. Now we can draw this original sequence. Original sequence will be representing as x of n. X is a function of n, so over here we will representing with respect to n. And you know that x of n equals to u of n. So u of n will be representing as from 0 to infinite, its value equals to 1. So this is your basic sequence. From that you can find whether the given sequence is stable or not. So from the pole zero plot you can find out the original sequence. Otherwise, if the original sequence is given to you, then you can find out its Z transform. Then from the Z transform you can find out pole zero plot, right? So it will be covered in the second example. In this example, two sequences are given to you. So the original sequence are given to you. You have to find out Z transforms, and then you have to sketch their pole zero plot. So if we will find out Z transform, so x1 of n equals to 1 1. if we will find out z transform of this, so x1 of z equals to summation x1 of n z raised to minus n, and the range of summation equals to minus infinite to infinite. Now from this term x1 of n is given to you as 1 1, right? Arrow is not given to you, so first term will consider as arrow, and at arrow n equals to 0. So at n equals to 0 its value equals to 1, and this one is n equals to 1. So the summation equals to n equals to 0 to 1 x1 of n z raised to minus n. Now if we will put the value of n in this equations, then this term will become x1 of 0 z raised to 0. So the first term will become x1 of 0 z raised to 0. This one is summation. So because of summation we will put plus. Then the second term is n equals to 1. So if we will put n equals to 1 in this, then it will becomes x1 of 1 z raised to minus 1. Now what is the value of x1 of 0? 0 means at n equals to 0 its value equals to 1. And at n equals to 1 also its value equals to 1. So we will put over here 1, and x1 of 1 equals to also 1. Z raised to 0 equals to 1, and z raised to minus 1 means 1 by z. Now if we will simplify this term, then 1 into 1 means 1. 1 into 1 by z means 1 by z. Now z will multiply over here, so it will become z plus 1 divided by z. Similarly, if we will find out for the second sequence, then for second sequence x2 of n is given to you like 1 2 1. In this also arrow is not given to you, so this term will consider as n equals to 0, n equals to 0, 1 and 2. So the range of n equals to 0 to 2 x2 of n z raised to minus n. So this is your x2 of z. And if you will find out value of x2 of z, it will find like n equals to 0. So this term will becomes x2 of 0 z raised to 0 plus x2 of 1 z raised to minus 1. If we will put n equals to 1 in this, and if we will put n equals to 2 in this term, then it will becomes x2 of 2 z raised to minus 2. Now we will take the value of x2 of 0. x2 of 0 means at n equals to 0 its value equals to 1, z raised to 0 equals to 1 plus x2 of 1. At n equals to 1 its value equals to 2, z raised to minus 1 means 1 by z plus x2 of 2 means at n equals to 2 its value equals to 1, z raised to minus 1 means 1 by z square. Now if we simplify this term, z square will multiply over here, so final value will become z square plus 2z plus 1 upon z square. And if we will convert in terms of whole square, then it will become z plus 1 whole square divided by z square. So we had find z transform of these two sequences. Now we have to sketch its pole 0 plots, right? So if we will draw the pole 0 plot will representing in z domain as real part of z versus imaginary part of z. And if we will draw for these two sequences individually, then it will look like this. It will be representing on unit circle. So I had drawn this unit circle. Similarly over here also we will draw the unit circle 1. Now we will find the position of poles and zeros. Z plus 1, it means at z equals to minus 1 this term will become 0. So it will giving you the position of 0. So 0 will be over z equals to minus 1. Similarly, if we will put over here z minus 0, or we can say that z equals to 0, then the denominator will become 0. So it will representing position of pole. So pole will be located on 0. Similarly in this if we will find out, then this one is z plus 1 whole square. Whole square means over here there are two zeros z1 and z2 which are located at minus 1. Similarly poles will be considered as z square, means over here two poles will be there, p1 and p2. So two poles will be located at origin. Now we have to relate these two terms. So if we will relate these two terms, the position of 0 will be same and the position of pole will be same. Just a difference is that in the first sequence it has only one 0 and one pole. But the same situation will be in this, but with repeated 0 and repeated pole. So from these two examples we can say that if pole 0 diagram is given to you, then you can find out the original sequence, and if original sequence are given to you, then you can find out pole 0 plot. Now the next topic is classification of systems using pole 0 plot. There are basically two types of system which are based on the pole 0 plot. So we will start from the linear convolution. Linear convolution can be expressed as y of n equals to convolution of x of n with h of n. Using convolution property in this Z transform, y of z equals to x of z into h of z. That property defines that if we'll convolve two sequence in the time domain, then the multiplication in the z domain, right? Now from this, if we'll find out transfer function, then h of z equals to y of z upon x of z. So h of z equals to output y of z upon input x of z. Now for LTI system, a linear constant coefficient difference equation will be representing in number of output and number of inputs. It will be generalized written as summation k equals to 0 to n ak y of n minus k equals to summation k equals to 0 to m bk x of n minus k. Now if we will take Z transform on both sides, then it will representing as summation k equals to 0 to n ak. From this we can say that y of n will convert into y of z, and because of this minus k, using shifting property of this Z transform, we will write down z raised to minus k both sides. So this is the final answer. This bk will remain as it is, x of n will convert into x of z minus k. Because of this minus k, we will put z raised to minus k. Now if we will find out h of z, it will becomes output upon input, right? So if we will find out h of z equals to y of z upon x of z, and its value equals to, this one is y of z, x of z goes over here and this summation goes over here. So the final value equals to summation k equals to 0 to m bk z raised to minus k. This term goes over here, summation k equals to 0 to n ak z raised to minus k. Now if we are representing this whole transfer function into number of system connected in cascade, then it will representing as h of z equals to h1 of z into h2 of z. Now suppose if we will take numerator part as first system as h1 of z and the denominator part as the second system as h2 of z, then h1 of z will define as summation k equals to 0 to m bk z raised to minus k. It means numerator, and h2 of z equals to 1 upon summation k equals to 0 to n bk ak z raised to minus k. It means denominator. So the first system has only numerator, so it will consider as all zero system. And the second system will consider as 1 upon something, means only pole will be there, so it will representing as all pole system. There is not a single zero, so it will consider as all pole system. Now the next topic is stability considerations. To find stability, first of all we will find out causality. If we will find out condition for causality, it will representing as h of n equals to 0 for n less than 0. It means for the negative value of n, the value of transfer function equals to 0. It means h of n equals to 0. So if we will find out the same condition in the z domain, then for the causal system, ROC is the exterior part of this circle which has the radius of r. So if we will find out Z transform of this h of n, then it will representing as h of z. So h of z equals to Z transform of h of n. So the condition for the causality is that the ROC of the system transfer function should be the exterior part of the circle having the radius r, and the value of r should be less than infinite. The condition for the stability is summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite mod h of n. This should be less than infinite. This is from the BIBO stable system, means bounded input, bounded output, stable system. The transfer function should be less than infinite. Now we'll find out z transform of h of n, then it will representing as h of z equals to summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite h of n z raised to minus n. Now if we are taking absolute value on both sides, then it will representing as mod h of z equals to mod of summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite h of n z raised to minus n. And as you all know that if we will take mod a into b, this will be always less than mod a mod b. It means if we will representing these two part in individual mode, then it will be always less than it. So over here we will representing it as less than, summation will represent as it is, and this two term will individually representing in terms of absolute values. So it will giving mod h of n, mod z raised to minus n. Now if we will evaluate this z transform on the unit circle, then z raised to minus n will becomes equals to 1, because it will be evaluated on the unit circle. So all the values will be 1. So it will becomes 1. So this term will become 1. So 1 into mod h of n will representing as mod h of n. So the final answer will become like mod h of z should be less than summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite mod h of n. So we had representing it like this. Now you know that if the system is BIBO stable, then this value should be less than infinite, right? So mod summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite mod h of n, this should be less than infinite. And if we will put this criteria in this equation, then the equation will becomes like this: mod h of z should be less than infinite, because this term will becomes infinite. So less than mod h of z should be less than infinite when we will evaluate it on the unit circle. Now the condition requires for the unit circle must be present in the ROC of h of z. All the poles of the h of z of a causal and stable system are inside the unit circle. So the combined ROC will representing as mod z should be greater than r for the causal sequence. Mod z should be greater than r for the causal sequence, and the value of r should be less than 1, because if we will take r less than 1, so it will representing unit circle, inside the unit circle, then and then only the system will become stable. So it will be representing in pole 0 diagram like this. If we will representing it in terms of unit circle, then this one is r should be less than 1, right? Over here r should be less than 1. So if we are representing unit circle, then r should be less than 1 and mod z should be greater than r. This one is condition for causality and this one is condition for stability. So mod z is greater than r. So if we are representing it, then r, this one is r. So greater than r means this part. So this is representation of the system where the system becomes causal and stable.